Yeah, this is Nani Bob, and today we're doing a game called the Stanley Parable. And we have this like major inception thing right here. And let's begin the game. Who knows what this is? So, basically what this game is, I think, is you play as a guy in your office space, you just press buttons and do what regular office people do. I don't know. We'll find out. It just takes forever to load. I'm going to cut to when it loads. Or I won't cut and just make me look like a total fool. Yeah, I'm not going to cut it. I'm just going to make myself look like a fool. No, I'm cutting it because it's always there. Cutting it.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons.
Buttons.
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in.
Let's do it.
Though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley
It's a picture.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened.
Ooh.
Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Wow, I like this already.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
I see what happens.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
How do I get on the desk? I want to get on the desk. I want to get on the desk. How do I get on the desk? Boxes? Boxes? How do I get on the desk? Oh, I did it for a second there. There we go. Oh, this heavy crouch as control the crowds. Okay. Wow. Wow.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along.
Dang it!
He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Yes or no? Yes, no, yes, no, yeah.
Then in that case, we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different?
No.
Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer?
No.
Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh,
okay.
Now, think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option.
Okay.
Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Bye. Okay, so what happens? Escape? Or we can begin the game. Let's begin the game again. That's a pretty fun name. Okay, let's go now. Let's go through the door.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Narrator. Yeah, it's hot for me. It broke it. Maybe they're having to have a ceiling party. Or they're going to surprise me.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No.
This
No.
was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
But if I'm not
Perhaps he wanted to
Stanley.
stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
But I'm not Stanley. Or best. Woof.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
I can't learn.
Stanley's simplest but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think
happens if
perhaps
I jump
we've
over
gotten
there?
off on the wrong foot.
What happens if I jump over there? Here we
I'm
go.
not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Here we go. Here
I
we go.
realize that investing your trust in someone
One,
else can be difficult,
two,
but the
three.
fact is that the... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others?
Yep.
Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
Yep.
Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you.
Neither.
To show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Like for red door, dislike for blue door. Because I'm going red door.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you
Circle,
see that
circle,
it's
circle.
killing us, Stanley?
Circle, circle, circle.
I just...
Circle,
I
circle,
wanted to
circle,
stop.
circle, circle.
I
Circle,
would,
circle, circle,
we
circle.
would both be so much
Circle,
happier
circle,
if
circle.
we just
Circle, circle, circle.
stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Whoa, whoa. Nice. I'm going in. Oh, it's loading the next section. This is amazing.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
A door.
Here.
Oh, the music. Whoa.
It's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay
Yes,
right
yes.
here,
Whoa.
right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel
Oh, what's that?
happy.
What's this?
I actually feel happy. No, wait. Where are you going?
Stairs?
Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
I don't care.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
What if I want you? Whee! Ah.
Oh,
Guess you have to go back to sir.
thank God. You lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room? There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy.
Wow, that's like,
We really can.
that was
If we
like
stop moving,
hypnotizing.
we just have to stop moving.
Okay. Where's the there we go.
Stanley, go back.
No.
There's nothing good that can come from this.
No. No.
No. No, no. What do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me? Yes, perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about. I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
Okay.
No, perhaps not.
We didn't die this time. I have a feeling.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy.
Here, we're gonna cry.
Am I reading the situation correctly?
Cry. Oh, no, crawl. I said cry.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it.
Oh, we're so
don't
much
know
slower
anymore.
now.
I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask.
Where?
It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours. Is it over?
Yeah.
It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Now, what happens if we... I'm wondering here.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
I wonder.
When Stanley came to a set
I'm
of two
wondering,
open, this was not the correct way to the meeting
I
room.
wonder
And
if
Stanley knew it
we go
perfectly
through the
well.
blue door.
Perhaps
what
he wanted to
happens?
stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I'm wondering what happens
Wow.
with the blue door.
Yes.
Actually,
This room.
now, would you blue
but
door
eager
later?
to get back to business,
maybe in the next
Stanley took the
episode?
first open door on his left.
We'll go through here.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
No, we're gonna go this way. This way. No. No elevators.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
Down!
Coming to a staircase,
Up and down,
Stanley
up
walked
and down,
upstairs
up.
to his boss's office.
Nothing can ever come good of up. Downstairs. 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 Downstairs.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked
Wait a second, what?
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for
This
that
is
matter,
strange.
these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley
Maybe.
said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
Where?
This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
Okay.
And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back,
Let me wake up.
the fresh air of a world outside this
Let me
one.
wake up.
Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
Let me wake
I
up.
this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job.
Okay.
Let me continue pushing the buttons.
Pushing the
Please.
buttons.
It's all I want.
It's all
I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
Everything will be fine.
I am okay.
Uh-oh.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Mariella.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't.
This is amazing.
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Yay! Okay, that's probably gonna be it for today. So, if you like this video, please press like, don't forget to subscribe, and just remember, Yummy Mom loves you!